Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Success Life Live. Yes, this is edition number 2. Why? Because Facebook was acting up on me, trying to go crazy, drive me into the wacky house. So, Success Life Live, we gather here each and every morning to get our mindset right, to get our thinking right, to head in the right direction. Matthew, this is totally your fault. I'm blaming you. You can't even escape the responsibility. If you got a chance to watch my friend Matthew this morning, he had some technical difficulties, and I think it's somehow fused into my technical difficulties. And so whoever else has got one later in today, if you have technical difficulties, we're all blaming Matthew. So just push it back towards Matthew's. The thing is, I don't have a gorgeous Stephanie, like the Vanna White of Facebook Live, who can come in and hand me props and take care of things. So anyhow, Success Life Live, here we go. So remember that tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Author Talk. Let me tell you something. Achieving success by closing more sales and building long-lasting relationships. Here's the thing I know. So often we're afraid to call ourselves salesmen because somehow that became sticky, ugly, smucky kind of thing. Like if you say, I'm a salesman, it doesn't mean you're in the service industry or you're not acting with compassion and care and concern for the client, that it's all about getting the sale. No. Totally wrong, totally a lie, totally a misconception. If you're afraid of selling because you're going to be labeled as some kind of some way, you need to be here. I know Eric. I've met with Eric. I've been on trips with Eric to Paraguay. He teaches the art of selling and the dynamics of selling and how to plan the sales process so that you can be of service to your clients or potential clients at the highest level. So be here tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7 p.m., Success Life Live. It's going to be Author Talk. I've got to tell you, the pile for Author Talk, I'm having to read like a crazy man. I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish that, but I will. So today's lesson, because Facebook Live new features allows you to turn, very good, Dean. Did you see how I couldn't? I'm going to have to, like Matthew will stand over on the side, and every time I start the S sound, he can just say it for us. My mother would wash out my mouth with soap if she heard me say it more than twice. So I want to talk about this when poop happens kind of thing. Because one, we're in the time of year where it seems like the poop magnets are all around us. Like, oh my gosh, why is everything crashing in? Why is everything happening? Why are we being consumed by poop falling on our heads right now? It seems like every time we get a step up, the cat knocks over the tree, the tires need, chains, whatever it is. It's like every time we think we've got some momentum, something happens. It's like yesterday, my kid got off the school bus and she was coughing and wheezing and snotting and stuff. I was like, I don't have time for this. This wasn't on my plan. You haven't looked at the agenda for the day. I have got a set of system things that I got to get done, and you being sick is not on my agenda. Stop it, cut it out, move it on. You can't have it. I know. Not really the best way to move through life. But that's what we're in. This holiday mode seems to bring out in us. We've got to work. We've got to get the Christmas shopping. We've got to get that. We got to get, and we got to get all this stuff done. And we've got these agendas and these plans, and all this energy starts to build up. And when one small thing, one little thing, one bump in the road begins to happen, it's like the whole vehicle blows up and we end up in the ditch. It's as if all of the poop in the world is falling on our plate and we're the only person that's supposed to be dealing with it. Well, first, everybody is dealing with it in their own ways, some better, some worse than others. Also, it's because you took what used to be a schedule that maintained and managed this much and then started piling all kinds of stuff into it without expanding your resources, without expanding your time, without expanding your abilities. It's sort of like when you overfill that water balloon and you're suddenly drenched and you're like, well, how did this happen? Well, it only had so much capacity, but you kept pouring in and pouring in and pouring in and pouring in, and you could see the tension and the stress, and you could feel it begin to get weak. But you said, no, I can do one more thing. I can send one more thing. I can bake one more thing. I can call one more friend. I can shop one more gift. I can, and it blew up. And now you're suddenly covered with the poop. Thank you for doing that, Elizabeth. And so poop is going to happen. And it's going to feel as if it's happening more and more at a higher and higher level right now during this time of year. Because you're trying to shove more and more into the same 24-hour, 7-day week schedule. And what I want to tell you, what I want to beg you to do is pull back off of it. Yes, poop is going to happen. Life is going to throw you some wrenches. Things are not going to go as well as you had planned or written in your day timer or had created into your life. I know you had this perfect agenda of how you would divide up your schedule, and then you would be able to be mommy during the morning, and then businesswoman in the afternoon, and then social hostess for the PTA or to the chamber or whatever. And then you had all of this planned, and then suddenly the cat pukes on the Christmas present that was supposed to be going out the door with you 5 minutes. No, guess what? Welcome to life. Life is always full of that. It just feels magnified during this time of year. So I'm going to give you some hints how to make it happen, how to get through it, how to survive the chaos and confusion and stress that the holiday brings on. And more important, it's so true, our child chews it up. Yeah. I'm not, now that would be too personal. I'm not going to share that story with you. But let's just say this was not my first outfit of the day. When a kid has a head cold and they keep swallowing and sniffling and swallowing, those of you that are parents know what happens next. But anyhow, so how to survive life when poop happens? Well, first and foremost, I want you to recite this little mantra. Just say, it is not permanent. This too shall pass. That Christmas only comes once a year, New Year's, family, relatives, all of this only happens. This is not a permanent state. What I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, the chaos, confusion, the running, this is not permanent. However, how I react or interact with others could become permanent. And so what do I want to do? So what I mean by that is when we're stressed, when we're bubbling, when things are piling up and we snap that head and say that thing, shout at the kids, shout at the spouse, get angry at the employee, those actions that we take in that moment when it's all bubbling up, those can last a lot longer than the moment. And so when I start to feel that vibration, when I start to feel that tension, when I start to feel as if I'm losing control of my schedule, I'm like, okay, whoa. This is not permanent. However, how I react is. And the consequences may be too big for me to ever take back. So I'm just breathing. And someday I'll tell you where this perspective comes from as it relates to my daughter and her story. But just remember, none of this that you're feeling right now is permanent. But the reactions you have and the impact that they can have on other people's lives could be. So guard yourself. And number 2, I had perspective is priceless. When we're in this chaos, bubbling over, poop is happening all around us, dumping on our face kind of moment, sometimes perspective is the only thing we need. It's not when my daughter came off the bus and she had been snuffling and sneezing and coughing and hacking and making her way through the day, I'm sure in her mind the only thing she wanted to do was get home to her dad, get a hug, get a cuddle, get some comfort, get on the couch, be in her nesting place, because that's what I would want. If I had been at work and struggling and striving and pushing and grinding and I finally made it through the door, wouldn't want to be confronted with anger. I would want to be confronted with a blanket and a remote. And so when I took a moment and I looked at her, I thought, you know what? Yeah, this doesn't fit my schedule. This doesn't fit my agenda. This is, from my perspective, the worst thing that could happen. But yet, if I walked around to the other side of the camera, so to speak, it was like, oh my gosh, this poor little thing. She has been fighting and pumping and grinding, and she gets off the bus, and the snot is halfway down into the middle of her belly, kind of on her shirt, and She probably felt miserable, and the only thing she wanted was me to grab her and cuddle her and throw her on the couch and sit with her. So all of this poop, all of this chaos, all of this confusion that you're feeling is because you have an agenda that is focused on you. Switch the camera. The people you're interacting with, the things that you're doing today, what do they really want, need, or desire from you? Do they need another Christmas present? Do they need you to bake another dozen cookies? Do they need you to do all of the things that are on your list, or do they just need you? You need to be able to set yourself into the perspective of others if you're going to survive when poop happens. And then number 3 is creativity is a must. You've got to think as a leader, as a business owner, as a mom, as a dad, whatever it is, you've got to be able to be like, okay, it's not going the way I want. How can I make it go? What do I need to do? What resources, tools, talents, techniques, what do I have that I can at least utilize in a different way, different manner, different perspective in order to calm the poopiness, to settle things back down, to substitute and to go around what's going on. How can I use this creative brain that is transforming the world to transform this moment? And so sometimes you got to get creative. Sometimes it means not doing it the way you thought you were going to do it, but doing it a different way to get the same result. You got to be still in that I can do mode, but you got to change it into a how can I do mode. And then number 4, I had be relentless. So this is the coaching me talking. When poop happens, when stuff is flying around, when you're being buried under by all of it, you still got to be relentless. And what I mean by relentless is be relentless with who you are and what your bigger vision, mission, purpose is. Now, you may have to forfeit a task for the day or to do or a short-term goal to be able to get through the poopy moment, to get through the crap that's happening, to get beyond what's currently in front of you. But you got to be relentless in going the direction that you desire to create in your morning. Good morning, BC. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Dean. So many people jumped in. Love to hear it. Thanks. It was a little extra effort today. Good morning, Elizabeth. So you got to be relentless. So often when we have poop coming at us, when the junk of the world, when everything is collapsing, we're like, I give up. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm over. I'm out. This isn't going to work. I knew it was going to happen. See, I told you. As soon as my daughter showed up and she had that cold, I knew me being a speaker, a coach, a trainer, a writer, I knew that was a joke. I knew it was never going to happen. I give up. Really? Really? Come on, folks. The life you want, the success you desire, the things you're trying to create will never get bounced off track. Now, the to-do list, that can get bounced off track. But the bigger purpose, mission, vision, you got to be relentless towards it. And then number 5 I had was don't make a plan, sort of. So when we get committed to the plan before we get committed to the goal, that's when poop really starts to sink. When we are so connected to the plan that it's got to be like, that we can't break ourselves away from the plan, that's not a good thing. Now, if you have a series of things, what is the next best thing? I always ask myself when I'm planning. What is the thing that I should be doing next to get me in the direction that I want to go? And then when poop starts to happen, I don't try and plan my way all the way out of it. I sometimes try and plan my way right past the next stinky thing. You know, I get it. It's kind of like, okay, this wasn't in my plan. Let me clear this moment. Let me remember that this is not permanent. Let me move beyond this moment and then figure out the next moment. And then figure out the next moment. Let's not create this huge, giant, forever lasting, never going to be altered change of plans. Let's just keep it in perspective. And then finally I have surround yourself with good people. And I mean good people. I mean non-judging, core to the, ride or die kind of friend people. Those people that when poop is happening in your business, poop is happening in your life, your finances, your fitness, your faith, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to work on, and you hit one of those, you need those ride or die friends that you can pick up the phone and go, and it always starts with this, this. You're kind of laughing like, okay, okay, folks, okay, I am like up to here in it, and it's so crazy, so overwhelming, so negative that I'm just laughing because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but I'm calling you because you're one of my ride or die friends. You're one of my true to life friends. You're one of the people that I can call, and if nothing else, I can call and bitch about the situation just so I can make sure that I'm not losing my mind. Now, we all need those good friends. Like, I have a couple that I'm like, okay, it's that call. And we kind of have like this code that it's, when you start the call and it's like, it's one of those calls, they know like to go ahead and start mixing a drink on the side because they're not going to be talking. Their whole thing is just to be listening so that you can get it out, get away from it, get perspective on it. And then they'll laugh and chuckle with me and they're like, yeah, so what? And I'm like, thank you for listening. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being the person that when all of the poop and all of this is happening around me, I can pick up the phone and call and tell you about it and know that I'm not going to be judged. Know that you're not going to call the next person, that you're not going to start the phone tree of my failure and start calling people. No, and you might even say, look, here's a suggestion. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you're on the other side of that and you're one of the ride or die friends and you get that call, do not jump into solution mode. Do not jump into suggestion mode. Do not jump into problem solving mode too quickly. Because 9 times out of 10, what they want to do is just speak it. Because it's so overwhelming. There's so much confusion. There's so much chaos happening. They just want to speak it out of them in hopes that speaking it will clear the air. So give them that space to just, blow it up. And then offer. And what I often will say as a coach is, may I make a suggestion? Or do I have permission to make a suggestion? Or is it okay if I say something right now? And then I'll truly shut up and wait a minute. Because if they're like, no, it's not. I don't care what you're thinking. I'm like, all right. Then I know my job right now is to be that good friend that's just there to hear, just there to listen, just that safe place for you to come to so that you know that somebody in the world knows that you're having a difficult day. And then they can offer energy, they can offer prayers, they can offer whatever they can do, whether silent or alive. And so this time of year, be ready. The poop is going to happen. The chaos is going to show up. The confusion, the frustration, the anger, the bubbling over, is going to happen. I've worked in and around domestic abuse and child abuse and child in care. This time of year, like, straight up, the number of calls, the number of incidences, the number of child endangerment cases that are like boom, 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 boom. It just skyrockets. Why? Because again, we're trying to pack so much into an already full container. And because we're entrepreneurs, dreampreneurs, mompreneurs, creativepreneurs, success thinkingpreneurs, we think we can do it all and nothing will go wrong. Because look at me, I'm a superhero. All right, let's just put that stuff to bed. Let's just pack that down like an old pair of shoes, BC, that nobody wants to see, nobody wants to wear, and they really don't fit because it ain't the truth. The truth is, poop happens. Poop happens. How you deal with it, how you react to it, how you move through it is what's going to define you in the end. It is what you're building. It is the legacy you're creating. It was funny, I always say listening, reading to something because it's like always piling into me. But going around the fire does not refine who we are. Going through the fire, being in the fire, is where the refinement and purification part begins, so that when we step out, we're a new person. So get it. The fire that's coming at you, the chaos and the confusion and the stress that's coming at you, If you're willing to go through it, face it, challenge it, manage it, it will refine and define more who you are so that when you emerge on the other side, there will be a bigger, better, purer you to reflect and shine into the world. So Elizabeth has done a phenomenal job. Thank you, Elizabeth. Apparently Joe is on vacation today, capturing and recording for me. Thank you so much. So remember, it's not permanent. Perspective is priceless. Number 3, creativity is a must. Number 4, be relentless. Number 5, don't make a plan, sort of. And then number 6, 4, 5, 6, surround yourself with good people. And I guess if there was like a bonus number 7, I would say just breathe. Honestly, just breathe. If you're being judged by people around you, if you did enough of the cookies, enough of the baking, enough of the wrapping, enough of the buying, if you showed up on time, if you made it to the 27th round robin Christmas party thing, if all of that is really what defines you as a person in other people's eyes, I am so grateful poop happened so I could learn that now instead of spending a lifetime trying to move into that. It's that person that will call you and say, hey, I noticed you weren't at the Christmas party. Is everything okay? And I say, you know what? It got too much. It was too much chaos, too much confusion. I just needed to pull off to the side of the road, give it up and go. And they're like, great, cool. Hope you're doing well. How can we connect? Blah, blah, blah. That's the person I want in my corner. I remember one year in sort of where this perspective came from. So I had this big, huge fundraiser event. One that was very near and dear to my heart, very important to me in the moment. And looking back, you could see it was going to happen, but I didn't. And so it was like we were running late getting out the door, and then we didn't have the directions, and then the GPS was somehow not connecting to where I needed to go, and I was like trying to drive and set the GPS and get the cell phone working. And then it started, we're in Georgia, so it's that time of year where it was pouring down rain, like one of those Here Comes Noah kind of pouring down rain, and the car windows were fogging, and I was trying to defrost them, and we're in the suit and ties and toxic. You know, it's just, the tension is building, and we gotta be there. And then the car starts acting up and overheating. I don't remember what the end up problem was. And I kept driving, and I was in rush hour traffic, and I was trying to navigate without really navigating. And I could just feel it. And finally I was like, and I literally found the first exit that I could pull off safely onto the road. And I'm like, not happening. I hereby declare this is not happening. Over, done with, gone, I'm out. Found an exit, pulled off, instead of in our suit and ties going off to this big fancy event, a big fundraiser, charity ball thing, you know, where we were going to get pulled in, and we had burgers at some kind of like steak and shake kind of place, and hung out and laughed and, you know, reset, recentered, reorganized. Got back home next day. Now, mind you, there were probably a couple hundred people there. There were probably 20 plus people at our table. And one person from that table called me and was like, hey, is everything okay? I know this was an important event for you. I know you had been planning it. We were a little surprised not to see you show up. Are you okay? And I thought, wow. All of that energy, all of that chaos, all of that confusion, all of that negativity that I had been dumping on my family, and, you know, all of that. And only that one person even bothered to check in. The only person that I was of value to in that entire room, in that entire table, at that entire event. Whoa, I put too much value on that. I put too much emphasis on getting there and being in the show and being in the moment and being recognized and getting my selfies and getting my photos and getting all of this. I was way focused on the wrong thing. And it took all of that poop, all of that chaos, all of that confusion for me to see that. Now, I'll still get anxious. I'll still build up energy. I'll still look forward to things with anticipation. But I'm much more sensitive now that when I start to feel the rattling, when I start to feel the energy shift, when I start to feel the poopiness fill the air, I'm like, oof, let's get some perspective here. Let's take a breath and realize that nothing happening here is permanent. What do I want to be permanent from this moment? What do I want to sew in? Do I have a backup plan? Do I have good friends? Like, I go through that list in my head. I'm like, okay, do we keep on trucking towards the event, or do we just pull off and be like, you know what? I've got other things more important. This moment can be recreated into something bigger, better, more substantial than what I thought it was. So stay open, stay flexible, stay ready for the poopiness. Welcome the poopiness. Like, call the poopiness into your life and say, come on, poopiness, because in the poopiness, I get to discover who I really am, who my friends really are, and what's most important to me. I get to refine and define who I am so that I emerge bigger and better and more in tune with my life of success that I want to create. All right. So it's kind of ironic that this morning started off with some Facebook chaos. Matthew's fault, not letting him off the hook. And that we had some bumps and bruises, that we kind of got off on a rocky start. The kid is fine. She actually went to school. We'll see how long that lasts. They have like I don't know, it's that kind of week at school. You know what's going on. She wanted to go ahead and go. I know that what's on the afternoon schedule is probably not going to be followed through, but that's life. I have a daughter who jumps off the bus and comes home and needs a hug when she's feeling sick. It's a moment that will pass someday, and I'll be begging for it back. So let's keep it in perspective, people. Let's not get caught up in crazy. Let's just breathe into it. All right? Well, I appreciate you guys joining me. Good morning, Miss BC. I don't know what started happening with Facebook lately. It seems like, I don't know. It used to have the little icons in the corner, and now I can't figure out how to put them back. But whatever. We're not going to worry about that. We're not going to play with the buttons, because when I do that, everything crashes and burns. There we go. So remember, tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Author Talk with Eric K. I always have to call him Eric K because I screw up his name so bad, and I don't want to do that. But let me tell you something. It's a great book. I've dissected it and torn it apart, and I've got notes all over it that I need to sit down and recap. Good morning, Miss Jackie. Jackie, good morning. Everybody, if you're buying or selling real estate in, forgot what city, Jackie. I want to say Jupiter, Florida, but I know it's a little further around that area and up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Jackie's your girl. She is honest and has integrity and commitment to her clients, and her team is off the hook. I got to meet her through a coaching training camp, and I tell you, she amazing person. I am so lucky when I get to walk through life and be blessed with new people and new ideas, and Jackie is one of them. So thank you for joining us. Jackie, we do this every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. What can I say? So until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, if you should, Cocoa Beach, thank you. Thank you, Jackie. You know, anything south of Orlando is promised land. It's that Orlando corner that always confuses me. That's a joke. Anyhow, thank you guys for being here for Success Life Live. Again, my name is Eric Reid. I am a coach and a speaker, and I'd love to connect with you. Don't forget, 90-day jump starts. A lot of people have called, got a lot of bookings on the calendar. Not sure how many are going to flow through, because not everybody goes into the program. I want to be in integrity with those who join coaching and make sure that they can actually come out the other end with benefits. And sometimes you may feel as if coaching is a solution that you need in your life, but it may not be the right time, the right vehicle, or I may not be the right coach. And if I'm not the right coach, I have a network of coaches like Jackie that I may refer you to. Because ultimately, at the end of the 90 days, I want you to be a higher, better version of yourself, and know that what you've invested has been multiplied to a level that you can continue to grow and build your success. So if you want to talk about the 90-day coaching program with me, or the 90-day, as I call it, Jumpstart My Success, message me, tag me, send me connect to me, and we'll get that started. For those of you who have signed up for the newsletter, that should be going out in a few minutes. So it's volume 1, issue 1. I've been avoiding doing a newsletter forever because I didn't want to become one of those spammy newsletter people. So I would love your feedback on what it looks like, how it feels. If you didn't get a chance to sign up, you can do so. There's a link probably down in my Facebook feed, or if you go over to the Eric G. Reid website, there should be a pop-up link. And if you still can't figure it out, send me a message and I'll get it taken care of for you. All right, well, until tomorrow morning, go out and live your life with success. It is yours and you are worthy of it. Bye-bye, everybody.